Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Born Free here, and I am joined by Melee player Axe, Tempo Axe, right?
Yep, Tempo Storm Axe.
Tempo Axe, Tempo Storm Axe. Okay, so tell everybody who you play.
I play Pikachu in Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Now, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert in Melee. Everybody knows I'm not, but I'm doing my best to learn, and you're going to help me a little bit. And we're going to talk about you though. A lot of people have said to me, you should talk to. When I asked like who should I talk to in Melee, a lot of people said you should talk to Axe because he plays an interesting character. Can you tell me about Pikachu and why Pikachu is considered an interesting character in Melee?
Well, we have like the top and the high tiers of Melee, right? There's like normally 8 characters people consider the high tiers. Pikachu, when I started him, was like kind of in the middle of the tier list, but to me, I felt like there was something really good about Pikachu that people just didn't quite get. You know, so I decided to expand on the character, just try experimenting a lot of things, and I honestly think he's pretty good. So I just worked on him, and it's working out to me. A lot of people still don't think he's a very good character, but I think he's pretty good.
So when you first started playing Melee, did you start with a different? Did you learn the game with a different character? Did you learn them when you first approached it? Did you just pick who you liked, or did you pick like a top tier before you moved on to Pikachu?
I was a Pokemon nerd. I was like super into Pokemon. I'm like, oh my gosh, Pikachu's in the fighting game? Like, you've got to be kidding me. I've never seen, like, that's crazy to me. So, you know, I was a fan of Pikachu. I just picked Pikachu from the start. And then it kind of just grew from there. I just kept playing Pikachu. I learned some advanced techniques, and I'm like, oh, let's try it with Pikachu. And it worked out, and I just kind of kept playing the character, and that's how I ended up where I am now.
Was Melee your first sort of fighting game?
It's the first fighting game that I actually took seriously, like into tournaments. But I've played all sorts of fighting games just casually, but not seriously at all. I'm really bad at pretty much every other fighting game.
Which one did you play first?
My first fighting game? Yeah. It's hard for me to remember. I've played a few of the Tekkens back in the day. Maybe I love Soul Calibur. That's like one of the first ones that I like spent a ton of time into. A little bit of Mortal Kombat. I don't know, man. Like, I've played quite a few, but none that I actually got super serious into. There was something special about Smash Brothers. I think just Nintendo fighting characters, because I grew up on Nintendo.
Yeah.
It's like my whole family thing. So something about that just drew me in.
Okay. So it was the Nintendo thing drew you in, then Pokemon on top of that, and then you were like, okay, I'm going to play Pikachu. Now, I guess there must have been a point where you decided, like, I want to take this more seriously. And at that point, did you feel like I got to change characters, or did you think I'm just going to keep pursuing Pikachu, it's going to be fine?
Well, of course, at first, it was just a whole bunch of fun, right? Like, you go in, you just want to have fun. I'm playing Pikachu. Oh my gosh, Pikachu's in this fighting game. And then I realized how awesome the game actually is. You know, you go into these mechanics where there's wave dashing, L canceling, all these sort of advanced techniques that makes you move faster. Your actions per minute are really high. Like, you press so many buttons on the controller at once, and you just move super fast. And the mechanics at the game is actually beautiful. And that's what kept me playing the game. Now, as I kept going on with Pikachu, I honestly wasn't even aware of the tier list for a long time. I never really looked at it. So to me, Pikachu was just kind of a good character. I'm like, oh, this character's pretty good. Entered a couple tournaments, doing well. And then I saw the tier list. Pikachu's pretty far down there. And it kind of had me confused. Like, I thought this character was kind of good, but in my opinion, I just think that everyone else is wrong. So I just kept doing my thing.
See, that's a really interesting mindset, because most people would look at the tier list and go, all right, I got to get rid of Pikachu and I got to play one of these other characters. What is it about you? Is it something about you? Do you have a stubbornness or something, or is it, or do you feel like you're not just going to take what people say for granted? Like, what's the deal? What made you stick with Pikachu?
I think there's something about the character that basically nobody gets it. It's like, I don't know how to describe it, but when I play Pikachu, something feels right. Like, something about the character and my playstyle, what I look for, something just clicks, and something just says, this is the character that's going to push you the furthest. And so that's what I went with. It's just kind of my gut instinct. And a lot of people tell me Pikachu's not good. You have to move on to a top tier, play like Falco or Marth or something. But I think in Melee, or probably any fighting game to be honest, you have a character that fits you the best, like your personal strengths. You know, some people play characters with a lot of traps, and you know, they go for those kind of characters like the mind games and stuff. And some characters like some people like hardcore aggression. But there's something about Pikachu with like a balance of speed, the movement, just being quick with quick attacks and being precise. The whole combination just kind of fits perfectly with that character to me. So even though he's technically not the best character, I think he's the best for me. And he may not be the best for other people, but I think everybody has their own character that they can just do the best with, that they understand the best, them as a person.
I think that's awesome. I think that's like how fighting games should be. And I love it when people play characters that are not top tier and that fit them very well. Now, when I was researching Melee, like I did come across like four stocking Dire Wolf, right? Which Silent Wolf. Sorry,
Yeah, no.
Silent Wolf. And it was like in 1.5 minutes or 1 minute and 50 or something like that. It was definitely under 2 minutes, right? And it's considered, I believe, one of the hypest moments in Melee. How did it feel at the time, and how does it feel nowadays? Like the people think of, people think of it as one of the hypest moments.
It all happened so fast, man. Like I don't know what happened, man. It was like 1 minute, we started the game, it said go, and then the next minute it was done. And I'm like, I don't know what happened. Like everything just kind of, it all happened so fast. But I was really worried going into the match because he had just won the previous match. I won the first one, he won the second one. And it's best 2 out of 3, so whoever wins the next match is gonna win. And I was really nervous going into it, and he must have been too. And then I just kind of four-stocked him somehow, and it was a crazy experience, you know, like having the crowd just like cheering for Pikachu of all characters, which I thought was really funny. It just felt really awesome, and if I could go back in time and relive that moment, I totally would. But my plan right now is to make more of those moments.
Okay. Now you definitely historically you've won a number of tournaments. You've beaten gods in your past. As you look forward, you talk about looking forward. The scene itself, the Melee scene, you know, is still very reliant on. I know this is like probably like an ongoing topic, right? It's still very reliant on old, television sets and old consoles and all that sort of stuff. Do you want it to be like ported onto the Switch? Do you? I mean, I guess you want it to continue, or do you have like? And if it doesn't, like, where do you see the Melee scene in 5 years' time?
One day, those big, heavy, clunky CRT TVs are gonna cease to exist because, you know, they don't make them anymore, and there's like less and less in them. So there needs to be some sort of adaptation with the new technology. And one thing that could fix that is if Melee was ported to the Switch, and if it was a good port. Like if they basically just put the game on the Switch and made it compatible with HD TVs, that's exactly what Melee needs. And if not that, then companies that make monitors need to find a way to make the monitors feel like CRTs, because right now, I never get the same feeling playing on a CRT as I do a monitor. Like there's that little bit of delay that they just haven't quite figured out yet. But I do think that a lot of companies are getting close to making something that Melee can finally be played on, because Melee does not support HD. It only supports up to 480p, which is depressing. You know, we at least need the 720, but you know, it doesn't support HD. So like that's a major problem that I think a lot of companies are trying to fix. But I think one day there's going to be a monitor or a television or something that Melee should be able to run on if there isn't a port for the Switch.
So let's say like the worst happens, right? And you know, gradually these TVs disappearing, and like you know, uh, the melee scene runs into trouble. Do you play Smash? Does that interest you? Would you play other fighting games, or would you just go off and do something else?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'd probably work at Walgreens for a little bit. I did that for a while. I might try some other fighting games, like well, I don't know what really interests me, to be honest. I do love competition, and I love fighting games. I'm not much into shooters, to be honest. So I might look for another game that I would play, although I don't know if Smash for the Wii U is my forte. Okay. I might choose something else. I just don't know what.
So Smash 4 doesn't, like, I know like the Melee and Smash are like, some people play both and some people really just don't, right?
Yeah.
So you're one of those guys, you really don't like Smash 4?
Well, they both look kind of similar, right? Like they're both, you know, Nintendo characters fighting on a stage, characters flying everywhere. But the main part that draws me to Melee is the speed of the game and the game mechanics, like how quickly you have to move, how many like inputs you have to do. I love moving fast. I love games that challenge how fast you can go and how well you can control that. And Melee does that so well. Smash 4 is more about just control and putting your character in the right position and not necessarily moving insanely fast, you know? Like you don't have to have super fast, quick hands and stuff to be playing that game. You just have to be like super smart and know how to control your character. I like Melee for the movement, for how quick you can move and zip across the stage and stuff like that while doing like a ton of inputs. So like something that really challenges me physically as well is probably something I would look for. So Smash 4 is not quite what I'm looking for. I enjoy the game as a casual player, but competitively it probably wouldn't be what I'm looking for.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, the community has kept Melee alive for a long time, so I imagine it'll probably keep it alive forever. Yeah, it's such a good community, right? Let me ask you a couple of questions more about you personally before we wrap this up.
Sure.
Do you play any other like video games for fun, like the are not fighting games?
Oh yeah, I love games. Lately I've been into Hearthstone, which is tough. Don't get into Hearthstone if you have, because it's a money killer, man. But like it's also really fun, so I like playing Hearthstone. I like playing casual games like I don't know, Binding of Isaac. I love Binding of Isaac, or I played Undertale. Just like a couple games here on the side. I love Nintendo games, Mario Kart, things like. I like platformers, you know, pretty much any Mario game. I'm still big on Nintendo.
Yeah. Tell me Zelda, please tell me Zelda.
You're gonna hate me for this, man.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Are you gonna tell me you don't like Zelda?
You're gonna hate. No, it's just that I haven't really played any of the Zelda games. I played through a handful of them and never completed a single one for some reason. They seem cool, but for some reason I haven't beat a Zelda.
You know what? To be honest, people who watch my channel know that I have a Switch at home that I haven't opened, and I have Zelda and I haven't opened it, so I can't actually have a go at you. I feel bad. I need to get around to it because I actually love Zelda.
Yeah, I'm one of those kind of people too. I have a ton of games that I just haven't touched. Geometry Dash is another one that I like playing. I like. Have you seen?
No, I know.
Have you seen the Impossible game? Do you know that game?
I've heard of it.
You're basically a little square.
Yeah.
And you go through this level and you have to jump over spikes and jump over, you just jump and like go over like super tight spaces and stuff like that. I like games like that are very, I guess like Binding of Isaac or like I like bullet hell games as well. Things that you have to, like a trial and error type thing. I like very challenging games, which I think is what drew me to Melee, but I love the challenging games.
That makes sense. Now, one last question about you, and then we're going to wrap this up. What else do you like to do outside of fighting games? Do you have other stuff like movies, like TV shows, like God forbid, outdoor things? You know, we all get, you know, we're all stuck indoors for like 3 days.
What is the outdoors?
It's true, right? It's true. I haven't seen the sun for like 2 days.
I know, right? Well, I definitely enjoy just watching movies and just hanging out with friends. You know, my girlfriend and I, you know, we hang out a lot. I'm a big weeb, man. I like watching anime. So Anime's cool. I've just been watching a ton. Currently, I'm watching Hunter x Hunter. Super cool. Definitely watch it. It's awesome. But I like watching anime, just hanging out with friends, going, I don't know, somewhere, like going to the mall and just hanging out, something like that. So I used to do martial arts for a while.
Ah.
So I was doing that. My dad's a karate instructor, so I did martial arts under him for about a decade.
Yeah, so you don't want to mess with your dad, basically.
Don't mess with my dad. He's disciplined, man. My dad's amazing though. I played racquetball for a while.
Okay.
Racquetball's fun, but right now mainly I'm just focusing on Melee, and outside of that, I like playing other games. Been playing some virtual reality stuff lately. Have you tried any VR stuff?
Yeah. My cousin. So there's another story, but my cousin is basically big in VR. So he's whenever I go to his house, he just straps me in, and he's like, yeah, I play a lot of those games. Funnily enough, the games that I find the most interesting and the most mundane. They're like like the Office one, the Office Simulator and all that.
Budget cuts. That game, oh my gosh, it's so simple, but like just being in the virtual world. It's so mind-blowing, man. It's amazing.
It's so weird because you're like, can I make a coffee? You want to do the most mundane stuff. You're like, can I make a coffee? Can I put sugar in my coffee?
The first mistake that a lot of people make is, in that game, especially in budget cuts, is you see a couch, you want to sit on it. Yeah. And I've seen a lot of people try to sit on the couch, and you can't actually sit on the couch. Yeah. So if you guys play virtual reality games, don't sit on the couch.
Don't sit on the couch. Okay, I'm going to ask you one final question because I've asked this for everybody, and it's EVO, celebration of community and players, but I want to ask you about players, right? Because there's a lot of people out there who look up to you. They want to know, who's your favorite player? It could be any fighting game player, but currently, who's your favorite fighting game player to watch and why?
I'll be honest, I don't really watch many other fighting games that much to have another favorite player in a different fighting game, but I do have a favorite player to watch in Melee. He goes by Wobbles, and he is an Ice Climbers player. If you've seen that character, it's two characters. They have an infinite called Wobbling that was named after him.
I know about that, yeah.
And
it was named after him? Yeah, of course, yeah, that makes sense.
Yes. And contrary to his name, he actually does not like wobbling at all. So he's known for basically doing everything except for wobbling. And watching him play Melee, he's just so smart. The things that he does is just out of this world. And if you haven't seen Wobbles play, I definitely recommend just watching some of his matches, because it's the most mind-blowing thing that you never thought Ice Climbers could do.
Well, I'm definitely going to check it out. I wanted to say to you, is there anything else that you want to say, to your fans or your followers, or any topic that we haven't touched on?
Well, I want to give a shout out to Tempo Storm for just getting me here and being my sponsor. A shout out to the Arizona scene, and of course, shout outs to the Melee scene as well. And thanks to all of you guys for watching this. Awesome. We're going to wrap it up. So thank you very much. Good luck in the tournament. Thank you. And guys, we're going to say goodbye. Peace out.